Now, yesterday I met with managers and we did a brainstorming session about what skills would you want all staff here at Dundee to have. And here's what they came up with. We should teach attitude, the importance of reading, the 6-foot rule, customers come first, why patient satisfaction is important, the importance of walking a mile in my shoes, flexible attitude towards patient requests, civility between staff, personal accountability, in other words, not using "that's not my job," the live it rule, where here's complaint becomes the patient saint, keeping agreements, healing touch, monitor and manage room temperature, service recovery, mindful listening, attitude and responsiveness, escort patient to the destination, product knowledge. What if we had a passport for every employee, that they got stamped in every department, showing that they are knowledgeable about every department? Thank you using ADET or SERVE. What are our goals? HCAPS questions, HCAPS skills, patient communication, test follow-up, no paso, not flavor of the month, such as what you had before, managing up, and HCAPS nursing skills. Now, you think you got 3 hours of content there? Oh yeah, you get 10 hours of content. But my guidance to you is 3 hours a year. Focus on core skills each year in perpetuity, because you'll never run out of content to educate the front line. So the first 3 hours you teach the content, and the remaining day and a half you teach them to teach. Now you do know speaking in front of audience is the #1 fear for 44% of Americans. The only thing we fear more is dying while we're speaking. And I can tell you that we've not lost more than 8 individuals in the past 31 years. So what I'm going to do right now is going to call on 2 volunteers from each row to come up here and give a 2-minute impromptu speech about why you get nervous speaking in front of public. So, who will I pick? Maybe I won't. Is anybody relieved? How many of you are looking away? Because if you couldn't see me, I couldn't see you. Now, I just want you to know this is a pretty big deal for frontline staff to train in front of their peers. So what I'd like to do is, what we recommend, by the way, is do the train the trainer and then have a graduation ceremony and allow their family members and bosses to attend the graduation. And I want to share with you a graduation of 4 frontline staff at St. Mary Medical Center that did not know each other 2 days earlier, and now they're at the graduation. And they each get 5 minutes at the banquet to share something they learned. Here we go.
Oh my gosh, look at this. St. Mary's is for sale.
This hospital now. Guys, for sale. Go and see.
I'm a doctor. I bring patients here. I own the hospital. It's mine. No, I was born here. This is my hospital. I don't think so. The nurses own the hospital.
What do you think? Imagine that happening here, and the energy. What impact do you think they made on their peers?
Again.
Very profound. Very. What would it mean if your staff only felt accountable for your patient experience and HCAHPS scores? And imagine the personal growth that they would get from this. Zig Ziglar said the only thing worse than training employees and losing them is not training and keeping them. Think about it. One of the more interesting books I've read last year was I Am Malala. It's a story about a remarkable 13-year-old Pakistani schoolgirl who, because she spoke up for the right, against the Taliban, for the right for girls to go to school, they tried to kill her and they shot her in the face. She almost died. And she survived, and she became a spokesman for schoolgirls all over the world. Last year, she spoke at, when she was 13, she spoke at the United Nations. When she was 14, she received the Nobel Peace Prize. You may have heard her 3 months ago speaking out on behalf of children, refugees from Syria. In her book, she said this. She said, if we stand up for something bigger than our lives, then our voice will be multiplied. And that's exactly what happens with these empowered frontline leaders. Now, the tipping point is the concept of 10% influence 90. But in fact, if you have 5% leadership and 5% of your frontline each year for 3 years, that's the tipping point. It's way more than you need. Jack Welch, the famous business leader, probably one of the most successful businessmen of all time in the United States, said, why would you reinvent the wheel when you can steal it from someone? So I'm encouraging you to take this idea and run with it. This is how you're going to move those scores. That's how you're going to sustain change. And that's how you're going to fill the blanks with 5 stars in every field of what you do. What price are you paying now for your current patient scores? Well, $1 million for the business driving past you. At least one admission you're missing per day. I did a mission to India and Ghana a year ago Christmas. And when I was in India, I decided to go to Mumbai so that I could visit the home. I wanted a sightseeing tour so I could visit the home of Gandhi, who I admired all my life. And I went to the Mani Bhavan Museum, where he lived humbly for 14 years. But what really inspired me is this saying, we must become the change we want to see in the world, which is the creed for these empowered frontline leaders. Ken Blanchard did a study about engagement, said this: when you have staff engaged, it's 50% lower turnover, 56% higher than average customer loyalty, 38% above average productivity, 27% better bottom line. Everything works better when staff are engaged. Because here's what I know for sure: when people are learning, they're not leaving. So my question is, what do you see is the value of frontline engagement? Would you have a chat with your buddy? What do you see is the value of frontline ownership and engagement? I'll give you a couple minutes.
That's my Yes, and they're like this much too long, they have to. Short, you know, petite is strong.
Alrighty, thank you. Thank you. The second cornerstone is to transform. Joe Calloway said, vision without execution is elusive. You gotta do something. One of my coaches, Ron Webb, says it's easy to say what you do, it's harder to do what you say you do. Have you ever noticed TV commercials, by the way, can be relevant to our job? Do you remember this TV commercial from UPS a few years ago?
We think you need to integrate your global supply chain, move assembly overseas, and accelerate inventory velocity. Great. Do it. We don't actually do what we propose. We just propose it. UPS can help redesign your supply chain and make it work. From managing your logistics to financing your inventory, be a little more than just packages. Can you believe that? UPS, moving the speed of business.
So I can't do it for you, and you don't want me to do it for you. But whatever you decide to execute, you've got to do it with and through your frontline staff. That famous business philosopher, Larry the Cable Guy, said, get her done. GRD. So step 3 is to organize a monthly 1-hour staff do-it meeting. And in this meeting, 92%, remember what I said, 92%? 92% of what you learn in the classrooms we got within 14 days, unless you use it. Use it or lose it. Learning something doesn't matter, it's applying it is everything. Think ADET. You thought it was implemented because you taught it, but there wasn't a structured process to ensure it was implemented. So, I hear and forget, I see and remember, I do and understand. So, how do we know what we're going to do? Well, we need to learn from our patient surveys, from patient verbatim comments, from discharge calls, from internal support service scorecard, from letters from leader rounding, from hourly rounding, from family comments. There are all kinds of listening posts where your patients are telling you how to get better. Let's listen to them and do something with it. This is an example from neighboring Colorado, San Luis Valley Health, where this is the dietary department, and they're holding it monthly do-it meeting. And in this case, they took feedback they got from a number of sources, and here's the staff. Are they engaged? Are they participating? And by the way, here's what I know about these do-it meetings. Staff love them. You know why they love them? Because they get to have a say. They get to have improved work processes. They get to change things. That's the cool thing. They get to change things. So, one of the things we recommend is that at your staff meetings is read out loud in the tone of voice feedback from customers that are written. But by the way, because you use HealthStream records verbatim comments and lets you listen to them if you ask them. Either way, read out the comments or listen to them, because it can be very powerful in what you're hearing. You also have feedback from Facebook and from healthgrades.com and other places. So when I travel, I like to run. And when I was in Beijing, I went out running one morning. It's kind of interesting because one thing about running in Beijing is don't get lost. The GPS won't help you. I'm out running and I noticed that all these meetings are taking place on the streets in front of restaurants, real estate offices, hair salons, all these places. And they're having their daily huddles. What are they learning about this restaurant? Changing menu, changing prices, new personnel, new policies, learn it every day, extend that attention. I don't know what you need to do that. Here I am doing everything I can to mess up the meeting, but they kept paying attention. Well, the concept is once a week in every unit have a 15-minute staff huddle, stand-up meeting. We say, what did we learn last week from our patients that we did well at? And what did we learn last week from our patients that we didn't do well at, that we can do a better job at? So keep it top of mind. So step 1 is create an epidemic. Step 2 is hardwire accountability through monthly do-it meetings and weekly huddles. Is this doable? This is doable. So what do you see is the value of structured implementation? I want you to think about that. What do you see is the value of having a way to systematically ensure that what you want to have happen and change actually takes place? Apply it or forget it. So I get to ask, well, what does the process look like? Well, in the beginning, I'll be sharing with you this plan that you're going to have. And then the executive team's going to need to make a decision. And then I want to recommend that early on that you appoint a service excellence council. And then you should engage your providers fairly quickly so they know what's going on. And then you want to do leadership training. And then you want to bring in the empowered frontline leaders. And then 3 things will happen. Annual workshop, monthly do-it meeting, weekly huddle. Annual train the trainer, annual workshop, monthly do-it meeting, weekly huddle. And that's when patient and families will see the difference. It takes 4 months to do this. It takes 4 months to do this. So you all have heard the Pareto principle, the concept of the critical few and not the trivial many. So we want to focus on the key things that work. On page 5, I've summarized the key best practices and the areas that need to be focused on in terms of strategy. You turn yours in? Of the key best practices, by the way, of 26, you have 9 in place, and for the ED, you have 12 and 31. So here's what I want to recommend. So, well, Brian, we've got a hospital run, we can't do everything all at once. 3. So each year, focus on hardwiring 3 best practices and improving 3 HCAHPS domains. Is this doable? Doable. So I want you to think about now, which best practice did you do today that you're excited about? Which best practice do you want to get rocking on? Which best practice do you think would make this a better place? So whatever it is, it's time to start thinking what just doing. My friend Wayne Cotton said, if you have a problem, make it a procedure and it won't be a problem anymore. I really like that. So this is me at home in the morning at 5 o'clock trying to match up my pants and my suit jackets, because I always mix them up. I have black and I have dark blue and navy blue, and I can't see in the morning. When I was married, my wife was able to help him, but my dog is useless because he's colorblind. So what I decided to do was take my own advice. So what I did was I got coat hangers and pant hangers, and I printed out the name of the suit, the date I bought it, and a consecutive number. How many think this is anal? How many think this is a pretty good idea? No, anal is a nurse leader that wrote in my evaluation form 2 years ago, that when she hangs up her dresses, she puts a card in the coat hanger that says the date she wore it and who saw her wear it. Now, was that the blue scrubs or, what was it? So, by the way, this is now my closet, and I've chosen suit number 8 for your viewing enjoyment. Except half of it is in a rental car somewhere. So, Dr. Tolgawande, Tammy, have you heard of this book, The Checklist? This is written by this world-class neurologist, and he was asked by the WHO, the World Health Organization, to initiate a patient safety program globally for the operating room.